The Rolling Stone magazine asked Truman if he would write their tour. Lee Radziwill lived in Jackie Kennedy's shadow for 85 years. She stole boyfriends, competed for the same men, and fought over millions. When she died in 2019, people thought they knew her story, but her daughter Tina broke her silence after 6 years. What she revealed about Lee's favoritism, emotional coldness, and family secrets shocked everyone. The confession exposed a side of the famous socialite that even Jackie never knew. Some truths are too painful to tell while people are still alive. Lee Radziwill was born on March 3, 1933, at Doctors Hospital in Manhattan. Her full name was Caroline Lee Bouvier. Her father was a stockbroker named John Vernew Bouvier III, though people called him Blackjack. Her mother was Janet Norton Lee, a beautiful socialite. Lee was born just 4 years after her sister, Jackie, who came into the world on July 28, 1929 in Southampton. But the world they were born into was falling apart. The Great Depression had crushed the country. In 1933, the same year Lee was born, unemployment hit 25%. The stock market crash of 1929 had destroyed millions of lives, and the Bouvier were not spared. Blackjack's brokerage firm was barely staying afloat. He lost clients quickly, and the family had to move out of their luxurious homes. By that year, more than 15,000 banks had failed across America. Lee later said that her father's risky decisions during that time made her terrified of financial ruin. She grew up craving stability, something she felt her childhood never had. To make things seem better than they really were, the Bouvier clung to an image of old money. Blackjack even told people they came from French nobility. But by the 1970s, genealogists exposed it all as fake. Their real background traced back to a cabinet maker from the 1800s. So Lee had been born into a world that was already pretending, already falling apart, and she would spend her life trying to rewrite that story. From the time she was 3 years old in 1936, Lee split her time between a penthouse on Park Avenue and a grand estate in East Hampton. But behind the glamour, things were messy. Her father drank heavily. By the late 1930s, he was finishing bottles of whiskey every day. He had affairs and violent moods that were whispered about in society circles. In 1935, he got sued for taking $100,000 from family trusts. That nearly destroyed them. In 1938, he lost his Wall Street job, and people even gossiped that he had been involved in insider trading. By 1940, everything came crashing down when Lee's parents divorced. She was just 7. Her mother accused Blackjack of cruelty. The courts gave her full custody and made Blackjack pay $1,000 a month in alimony, even though he was drowning in $200,000 of debt. The scandal played out in the newspapers, and Lee never forgot it. Lee and Jackie were suddenly living between homes, surrounded by tension. In 1942, Janet married again. This time it was Hugh de Auchincloss, a wealthy oil heir worth over $50 million. The new marriage brought more children into the picture, like Yusha, born in 1927, and half-siblings Janet in 1945 and Jamie in 1947. Lee felt like she didn't belong in this new world. She was only 10 when she started fighting with her new stepbrothers and stepsisters, worried about who would get what in the future. She once said those years taught her not to trust anyone. When her father got drunk and passed out at a family event in 1942, embarrassing her in front of everyone, she said she made a vow to never show weakness again. Lee spent summers at a place called La Sada, a 7-acre estate in East Hampton that her grandfather had bought in 1925 for $50,000. It had 8 bedrooms and views of the ocean. The family hosted famous names there. By 1937, Lee was meeting people like the Vanderbilts and the Rockefellers. On the outside it looked magical, but inside things were tense. Jackie, 4 years older, was the star. In 1940, Jackie won a pony riding contest. Lee was 7 and cried when she lost. Their grandfather, Major Bouvier, died in 1948, owing $1 million in debt, and the family had to sell Lotta. In 1950, Lee later said that no matter how beautiful a place looked, it never meant peace. One night in 1939, there was a drunken fight at Lotta. That night she learned that high society could be cruel behind its polished surface. By age 5 in 1938, Lee and Jackie were already being dressed in matching outfits for photos. Their mother was obsessed with image. Even during the Depression, Janet spent $500 a year on their clothes. After the divorce in 1941, she put both girls into ballet classes that cost $200 per session. Everyone always said Jackie was prettier. That hurt Lee deeply. In 1950, at just 17, she got a nose job to change how she looked. By the time she went to Miss Porter's school in 1947, she had learned to copy styles that would later make her famous. But the style was a mask. One day in 1939, when she ripped a dress, her mother locked her in a closet for hours. From that moment, Lee began hiding her pain behind perfect clothes and perfect smiles. She started school at Chapin in Manhattan, then went to the PTIC school in Washington. In 1947, she entered Miss Porter in Connecticut, where tuition cost $1,500 a year. That would be more than $20,000 less today. She was good at drawing and acting. Her 1950 yearbook had kind words about her creativity, but she failed math and history. Jackie, on the other hand, got straight A's. She even won a Vogue writing contest in 1951. Teachers said Lee was bright but wild. She skipped homework, chased thrills, and got detention 2 times a week. In 1949, she hated being compared to Jackie and started looking for her own way out. At 15 in 1948, Lee started rebelling. She skipped 12 classes